that. We don't care if you're drunk, sip some of that.
Just about 15 minutes before 8 o'clock as we get ready to wrap up the Now Morning Show this morning. We still have some very important information for you guys, and we're being very strategic about it. I want to welcome the Chief Strategy Officer, Ms. Nichelle Granderson, joining us on set this morning. How are you doing this morning, Nichelle?
I am well. Yeah, could need some more sleep.
I completely understand.
Yeah, we understand.
However, we have important information that we want to share because it's the annual Caribbean Strategy Summit 2022.
Yeah, it's a tongue twister.
Yeah, it is quite a mouthful. But tell me, let's start with what exactly is strategic planning? Can we start there and then we work our way up to the summit?
So before we go in, I just wanted to, put it out there that Strategy Plus is the only authorized global partner for the Balanced Scorecard Institute based out in the United States. They are the trainers for the Balanced Scorecard itself and strategic planning.
All right, what is bank scorecard then, Louise? We can start further back.
Well, we got into that, but let's get into where strategic planning started. So strategy is an old discipline. Have you heard of Sun Tzu and the Art of War?
Yeah, the Art of War.
All right, everybody's read that.
Strategy.
Good about that book, and they say, if you're into business, read it. So it goes as far back as the Greeks with the Trojans and the Romans, basically in militia. Coming up with strategic tactics as to how to win the war. Right? It's just that within recent, and when I say recent, I'm talking about in the last century, we started to use it for business. You asked specifically about Balanced Scorecard, and that whole concept started with Kaplan and Norton in 1990. They came up with that concept, and then later on in 1997, Howard Rom was the founder of the Balanced Scorecard Institute, and the whole framework, that 9-step framework, taking you through the stages of the strategic planning process, right? And we'll hear a little bit more about Howard later on. So that's what strategic planning, if I had to simplify it, it would be, so you have deliberate choices as an organization that you make. And those now have to be supported by your actions. So that's a simplified version. Where we are now and how we're going to get there. Well, where we want to go.
Where you want to go and how we're going to get there.
And how we're going to get there. Yeah, your five W's and your H and all of that. Getting there. If you really had to simplify it. Where we are now and what is your desired end state. So what's your end game if we're in the Marvel universe, right?
I realize they keep using the terms like war and end game and all these things.
Well, in business is war, right?
Well, exactly. That's what I was about to say. It seems as though, as an organization, when you go into business, you have to be prepared to be prepared
to battle. And I mean, it's an important discipline as well. And we saw that with COVID. A lot of organizations were just caught off guard and caught with their pants down. Small businesses, medium, large ones, even was like, what is this? So do we wait for the next endemic? Do we wait for the next pandemic or the next disaster to hit us? Or do we start planning now? And that's why the planning is so important. The future is unpredictable.
Of course. And so now let's jump into the event that the company has planned, of course, for those business people who want to know about how to go about strategically planning for the future.
Right, so the event, I want to open with talking about why we're doing the summit. And the thing is, we do have leaders in Trinidad and in the Caribbean who have been exposed to strategic planning. They've led strategic planning sessions and so forth. But they don't use any set methodology. And if they do, they're not certified to use it either, right? I worked in large multinational organizations that I've never seen a strategic plan, right? And I mean, most persons, organizations would say, I don't need it. I've been getting along quite fine, we're making the dollars. Why is it important? But you can do so much more. You can gain so many more efficiencies if we stop, come off the hamster wheel, take stock, and really come up with a plan and share that story with the rest of the organization. So you asked about the summit, and we'll do bullets. So one summit, 2 events.
Right.
So there will be the symposium on the Thursday, the 29th of September, which is like the conference. And then on the second day, which is the 30th of September, we have the one-day strategic planning course so that leaders who want to attend or even senior managers, they can get those tools that they need to go off and start that process in their own organizations. We want to give them the tools. We don't want the McKinseys and the Big Five to come in, create this nice, pretty thing. It goes on the shelf and then it goes nowhere. We want you to be part of the process, build yourself, and then the execution is also key, and that's where we falter.
Do you advise that people should attend the both events or just one? And
you can do both.
Yeah.
You can attend either the symposium or the course. We actually did the same course last year. We hosted it for the Answer McCall group. We did about 60 of their very top executives. Because at the time, the Chief Transformation Officer felt like she wanted everyone to sing from the same hymn book, which is great. You don't want silos in your organization and people doing their own thing. Who doing balloon decorating? Who
doing streamers?
Yeah, and who's sharpening the toothpicks on the other side to pop the, you want presence aligned, just to be light about it. Yeah, now the symposium, going back to that, we have our keynote speaker, which is Howard Rum himself, the founder of Balance Scorecard, of course, and the whole 9-step framework. And then we have about 3 feature speakers also hailing from the Balance Scorecard Institute, who are strategy experts. But then, people will say, well, that's the foreigners they're bringing in. Well, no, we also want to hear from the region, and that's why we have what we call our red strat table. Yeah, picture this round table, but red. Yeah, don't worry, that's our logo colors. So we're repping for the Strat Plus today.
Of course.
And we want to have...
Who are some of the people coming to talk around the red table?
So we're going to have regional speakers from around the Caribbean, business leaders, but also strategists, And we want to hear from them what they have been doing strategy-wise. How has effective strategic planning worked for them? So we have from oil and gas, we have from food and beverage, we have retail, so there's the Unicommerce Group, there's BP, there is Sol, coming out from Grenada. So we try to get persons from different parts of the Caribbean, from different genres, different industries, different backgrounds. So, you got a slew. And it doesn't mean that they have to be using Balance Scorecard, but you're using something, right?
So I was going to ask about that. There are different methodologies that you can use to devise your strat plan.
Of course.
You mentioned that, people may not be using the correct one or any in particular.
Well, I wouldn't say Balance Scorecard is the correct one, right? It is the one that
you
we ascribe to. At the Strategy Plus, but there is, MBOs is one of the older ones, management by objectives. You have McKinsey's, and then people use all kinds of little tools in between, like Porter's 5 Forces and all that you probably picked up in school, doing your SWOT analysis and all that. But there's not an actual strategic planning process, and that's what Balance Scorecard gives you, with those deliberate steps taking you from vision, mission, core values, doing your customer value proposition, and then you get into your objectives, measures, targets, and initiatives. So it forces you to take it step by step and have you articulate what do you mean when you say world class. We want to be world class. We want to be best in class, but what does that mean? When that reaches down to your employee as an individual, I don't know what you're talking about. Listen, I hear to sharpen pencil and I go sharpen my pencil there, right? But you want them engaged, and the strategic planning process that Balance Scorecard uses, it is those logical steps, that logical framework that takes you through and forces the leaders now to articulate and to define what do you mean about improving employee engagement, right? Or when you say, I want to do a customer survey, that's not really an objective, right? What's the difference between an objective and just an action item, right? When you say you want to do a customer service, why? And it could get annoying as a facilitator. So why you want to do that? Well, because I want to improve customer service. Why? Well, when I'm satisfied, why? Well, it's to make money. That's the end game, right?
Any strat plan just boil down to that at the end of the day.
It's to make money.
If you're talking about war and corporate war, right? The end game for everybody is to make money. So that's why we need a strat plan to get down to that. I can tell you that about any business. What's the difference? It's how we're going to make the money.
Okay, it's the how, right? And as I'm saying, if there are things that you miss, if you just go off and say, okay, let's just start.
How much does this cost? As we talk about money.
Deliberately left that out. Anyway, just show up and you pay at the door, right? It's a hybrid event, so there is $375 for the symposium online, and then $575 in person.
Okay.
And then the course itself, I think it comes up to like about 9,000 TTD, right? But then, you know, you get the venue, you get the interactions, the facilitators, the international facilitators are going to be there and all of that.
And
I'm
of
just
course,
wondering, yes.
we're targeting.
That's the question, yes.
Right, so we're
Like senior
targeting who exactly? Senior
yeah.
executive. I mean, that price point is not the
The
front desk
subordinates,
worker,
yes,
isn't it?
yes.
Well, unless of course you know you want to invest in the development, right? But yes, it would be for executives, leaders, senior managers. But I would want to encourage junior managers, even supervisors and senior professionals. At the moment, they have relegated strategic planning to that C-suite level,
Yeah.
right? And that's why the execution is so poor, because then after you put forward the plan, I mean, who's going to execute it?
Yeah.
It's the person is lower. And that's the other thing I like about Balanced Scorecard. We encourage a cross-functional team at varying levels, because those are the ones who know the business,
Exactly.
right? I'm sure even at TTT, you'd have persons that they know the business. Go to Rawkus. Why
Yeah.
go to David? David, not about TTT, right?
Man.
Okay,
Man.
let's
Man.
Cross that one out.
Please answer.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
But you want the employees involved,
Of
because
course.
that's where you get the buy-in and that's where you get them engaged. Otherwise, I'm still gonna just pick up my bag at 3
At the end of
o'clock
the
and
day,
start
and
packing
check
up and
out, yes. Yeah.
we're checked out, right? And that's the difference between an engaged customer and engaged employee and just a satisfied one. Yeah.
Somebody just doing our
Yeah.
work.
And is this only
basically.
for businesses, or let's say that, like, for example, there's a sole trader who wants to get that strategy branding for their company as well?
Of course, strongly recommend, because I mean that is what can take you to the next level, from shop vibes to where you really are a true business person. Yeah. So I would recommend. I mean, yes, okay, you might look at the cost, but in the end, it's a skill set that you will always have. It's a competence that we want to build in the Caribbean, as I said, at all levels, not just in Trinidad, all over the region. And I mean, BSI and my colleagues there out in the States, they said this is an international thing. It's not just the Caribbean that, don't keep their house in order, right? But for me personally, I would like to see that revived. And as I said, who are the next leaders? And are we giving them that skill set and that competence to, think strategically, right? And not just be the hamsters and to be down in the trenches, because when that time comes for succession planning and career pathing, you're upset now that you put somebody who's doing an excellent job, excellent manager, but is operational. And we're like, why they can't think strategically? I mean, have you given them
The tools.
that tool? Have you given them that competence?
And this is happening on September 29th and 30th, yes?
29th and 30th, all
And
day.
So you can get more information at strategyplusconsultant.org.
Correct?
Strategy
Don't forget the www.
Yeah. You don't have to type that party. Just type in strategyplusconsultant.org.
Yes, of
And you'll
course.
get to the
Yes.
website. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
joining us this morning,
Yeah.
Nichelle, and for sharing this
Sure.
information. And all the best with it. I know it's going to be fantastic. And I want to encourage
Thank you.
everybody who, if you operate in a business, running a business,
Yeah.
part of an organization, you should definitely think strategically and think strategic planning. I think it can only benefit you in the future. And this is where we close up the show for this morning. I'm on behalf of Kimberly D'Souza and Natasha Lake. My name is Rawkus. Well, call me Rawkus. And I want to encourage you to go out there and make a difference today now, because together we aspire. And if together we perspire, then together we can also achieve.
We achieve, yes.
Yeah, and we can do so with discipline, production, and tolerance. So we'll join you guys tomorrow for the Wednesday edition of the Now Morning Show. Enjoy the rest of the day on behalf of the TTT team. Take care.
Have a good one.
Sitting down, kissing my locks and